Yeah.
All right. Hey, it's Josh here at DFL Before DNF podcast. Um, this is a selfish episode. This is one that I just wanted to do. Last week I got to have a punk rock musician that was an all-time great that I was a fan of, Mike Herrera from MXPX. I was super excited about that. I had such a good response. I thought, well, a good way to do something different in the ultra world maybe would be to call up some musician friends and see if they can join me. We can talk ultra running. We can talk about endurance in life, talk about endurance in other sports like road biking. And we can just kind of talk. And that's what I thought I would do today. So this is my friend, and he and my dad were very good friends. My dad passed away just last year. And my dad always called you Mickey Raphael. And I think this is going to be my first question. Is it Raphael or Raphael?
Well, when I grew up, when I knew your dad, because we were friends since probably the third grade, and living in Dallas, the name was Raphael. But people, when I, got into the music with the professional world, and people would introduce me, or no, it wasn't even introducing. It was write my name, give me album credit when I would play on a record. They go Raphael. Yeah. That's Rayfield. And so many times it was mispronounced. So I just started saying it's Raphael. That's the way,
Really?
that's the way it's spelled, and that's the way it should be pronounced. So that's, I still have cousins that say Raphael, but
okay. Yeah, to the day my dad died, you were Mickey Raphael. So for context, as I was growing up, my dad would always talk about how, his best friend from elementary, junior high, you guys were best friends, and you stole my granddad's car. I know there's all sorts of stories that you had together.
Your dad, we had a paper route, and your dad, we had a paper route at 4 a.m. and your dad took his father's car to throw the paper out, and my dad caught us at 4 a.m. Yeah, your dad was like a bad influence, and he had a motorcycle.
Yeah. Were you supposed?
See, dad, I found out later, my dad had a motorcycle, but somebody got killed on it, so he was. That was off limits for me. But,
that's funny. My dad would never let me have a motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
That better?
Yeah.
So he.
Yeah. Well,
so
somebody was texting me. I was just going to tell them I was.
Oh, you're good. So my dad would always tell me, about you and growing up playing harmonica. And then anytime Willie Nelson would come through Fort Worth, where we were at the time, you would always hook us up with tickets, or with him up with tickets, or come backstage and hang out with you. And I wasn't a musician yet, quite far from it, but I just, my dad always talked about you so fondly. And then you and I started to become friends when my dad said, hey, when I was starting to do more acoustic music, he said, maybe see if Mickey play on your album. And I was like, Dad, don't do that. You don't, he said, no, you're good. You should see.
No, it was good. I love playing on your stuff. I love playing on your music.
Well, it was always a world.
Because I was spending time in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was spending time in Salt Lake, so it was fun to see you, and your music was great. I really enjoyed playing on it.
Thanks. Yeah, so I appreciate that. And so your career, though, let's talk about that just for fun, because it's fun to talk about the things that you've done. Starting, is my research correct? My memory correct? 1973, is that when you started playing with Willie Nelson?
Yeah, 73. Mm-hmm.
And there's some connection to Daryl K. Royal and you starting with Willie. Is that true?
Yeah, Willie, Daryl. I met Willie through Daryl, and Willie I didn't know Daryl, but he was a big music fan and a friend of Willie's, and he had a little picking party at his hotel room after one of the ball games, and invited me to come over and bring my harmonicas, and that's where I met, Willie.
Were you living in Austin in the early 70s?
No, I was in Dallas. This was in Dallas after one of the games.
Okay.
So yeah, I was living in Dallas. I didn't move to Austin until I started playing with Willie.
Okay. So I see it. If you're my dad's age, in 1973, you would have been about 23, 22?
21. I was born in 51.
51. Okay. Yeah, so same as my dad. So, well, I mean, at the time, what was Willie Nelson's career like in '73? What kind of touring was he
Well, he
doing?
left Nashville and he was just he was playing clubs. I mean, these country western beer joints.
Was he still wearing suit and tie?
No, it was that. No, he got away from all that and he was wearing,
Okay.
jeans and t-shirts and
Okay.
playing golf during the day and music at night.
Really? That's funny. Is he still playing golf?
No, he has got a dislocated bicep, so I think
Oh gosh.
he kind of gave that up.
Okay. And then I just know like then when I started to do my deep dive into music and loving it, it just seemed like anytime I was listening to music that I loved, and there was a harmonica, it was you. I mean, from Ray Charles, then you play with Miles Davis. I mean, you're just kind of playing with everybody.
No, Miles. I spent time with him, but I never played
Okay.
with him. But he
That would have
he
been
would come
interesting.
to our shows, and we would hang out.
But then Seven Spanish Angels, right? With Ray and Willie.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's not me. That was some guy that Chet Atkins brought in. I wasn't even
Oh,
a
really?
fan of his playing. I didn't think he was very good. But yeah, but I played live with Ray Charles, so
Yeah, that's the one. I think that's what I'd seen. I guess on YouTube.
Yeah, I think we done it. I didn't play on that record. That was some tracks that were already cut, and then they just
Yeah.
brought Willie in to sing on it.
Yeah. Well, when you and I were becoming friends, like 2010s, you were road biking. It seems when you would have tour dates with whoever you were out with, mostly Willie, I guess, you would talk about riding from one town to the next on a road bike instead of on the tour
Well,
bus.
we rode every day we could, and when we were out with Mellencamp, some of his guys had bikes. So, and we're getting ready to do the summer with Mellencamp and Dylan, but and Dylan's tour
Oh yeah,
manager rides. So we won't go town to town, but we'll go out in the afternoon, in the morning at a show,
yeah,
from the venue and get a couple hours in.
yeah. Are you still out on the bike at all?
Yeah, I rode. It's been a week or so since I've been on the bike,
Oh, that's not bad.
but I rode last weekend, so
That's awesome.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked
But my
about
main
that.
ride, my main
Go ahead.
route.
Go ahead.
Say again.
Oh no, go ahead.
I said there's a lot of construction on my main route here where I used to ride, and it was about a 30-mile ride, and now they're doing all this construction, so I haven't been on that,
That route.
on my rural route. Yeah,
Yeah.
and right near myself, my house or where I ride, somebody got killed the other day, so
Oh God.
I'm still a little gun shy
Yeah.
of riding, but
Oh man. Yeah.
people still aren't used to, they're on their phones or they're not paying attention.
Yeah. Oh, that's scary. What I so admired about you in doing that is because you and my dad were the same age, but my dad, and we talked about this a lot when it was going on. He just wasn't healthy. I mean, he was putting in less than 1,000 steps a day, and I just always so admired and
Yeah.
appreciated that you. I mean, even now, after you guys same age, born in '51, to know that you're still out on your bike, still hopefully feeling good and going for it. I mean, this is what I love about ultra running. There's
I
a
feel
gift that
good.
comes with it.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a payoff,
Yeah.
and the endorphins and,
Yeah.
just a sense of accomplishment,
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted that for my dad. I wish he would have done it. I think that's probably why I did such a crazy deep dive and have obsessed so much over it, is because I don't want to end up, I don't know, what's the word? Sedentary. I don't want to be sedentary. I want to live, I want to keep moving until the day I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So are you staying busy?
Yeah. It's just that taking that first step. That
Yes.
first step is the hardest one.
Yep. Yeah. Are you staying busy out there? Are you still touring a lot?
Oh man, I'm touring. Well, Willie's got, I'm out with Willie. I'll have probably 60 dates this year. And then I go out with Chris, with Chris Stapleton. So we go to Chris, I go to Canada with him this weekend. And then I'm back for about 2 weeks, and then Willie starts a 2-week tour. And then when I'm off the road from Willie, I go out weekends with Chris.
My goodness. So
Chris will work like 3 days at a time.
okay, that's nice. So I mean, it
Yeah. So
was for Willie just had his 90th birthday bash, didn't he?
yeah, yeah, and well, last year in April, it's coming up on 91.
Oh my
The end of
gosh.
April.
Is he an endurance sports guy? Did he do anything to stay fit or healthy? Was it good genes? What do you make of it?
Yeah,
Still
he
going
gets out of
strong.
bed. He gets out of bed every day. He gets out of bed every day. That's his endurance. He plays the show. The show's an hour, but
Yeah.
and he's got emphysema. His lungs are shot,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's still he's got a vocal coach he works out with, and he gets he doesn't smoke anymore, and
Yeah.
he the endurance is playing the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And getting out there on the road. I mean, we'll probably do 60 cities this year.
That's so impressive. I mean, for any age, to have 60 cities who want to see you
Yeah,
play.
yeah, it really is. Yeah, it's a lot. And then I'll do his 60, and I probably look at my schedule. I'll probably have another 30 to do with Chris. So I'll get 90 dates in this year.
That's incredible.
But I'll sleep when I'm dead. So
yeah. Are you your own manager? Are you booking your own stuff? Like, I mean, it's between Chris and Willie. Are you doing all your own
no,
scheduling?
no. I mean, there's not much to book. I mean, I work for
Yeah.
Willie.
Yeah.
And then Stapleton Camp gives me the schedule, and they say, which days do you want to do? And I say, I can do these 25, 30 dates. And they go, okay,
Yeah.
that's it. That's the booking. And then for recording
Okay.
sessions, some producer will call me or something like that. So it's usually, I get a phone call and are you available next week? That type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't have time to tour with anybody else, or the interest really.
But you did. So when I posted that you and I were going to be chatting, one guy reached out just super stoked because he just saw you in Nashville for the 3 dates that you did with Billy Strings.
Oh yeah.
So that's just, you were home and he was playing there and you guys just,
yeah,
you
and
just
he's a
joined him.
friend, and I played on one of his records. So I just talked to his manager. I said, "Hey, I'm in town. See if he needs me to come in and play," and we did. That was an endurance.
Yeah.
That's an endurance. The way those guys play,
Oh,
but they're moving their
yes.
fingers so fast. But every time they move their fingers, I've got to inhale and exhale. So it's like I was about to cough. I only have 2 lungs. It's like, dude, I need another 2 lungs to pull this off.
Yeah. I guess that's interesting. So like when I've had x-rays of my lungs, I'm not a great ultra runner, but I am an ultra runner and I love this sport. And one time I had to have x-rays of my lungs and their commentary was like, "Oh, your lungs are enormous. You must be a runner." And I thought, this is the only time anyone's ever looked at me and said, "Oh, you must be an athlete." And I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
But I got to imagine with harmonica, there's probably
No, I've had my lungs tested. Actually, we did some testing at the Mayo Clinic, did some research to see what the harmonica does to the lungs. And I mean, they did everything but go invasive and put a tube down to measure my diaphragm pressure.
Really?
Which I was going to, but then I kind of chickened out on that. But yeah, my lungs are normal. Maybe a little above normal, but nothing. Yeah, because I don't hold. I mean, I can hold my breath, but I breathe to the harmonica. So if I'm playing, I'm just going. I'm breathing like I would be talking to you. In fact, it's harder to talk because I'm exhaling when I talk. And with the harmonica, you're inhaling and exhaling.
Yeah, interesting. Do you know
there's no. But
like
I control the air.
stuff?
That's the thing.
Oh, right.
My resting heart rate's probably 49, 50.
Oh, Mickey, that's awesome.
It's low.
It just makes me.
Might need a defibrillator.
Well, I just keep thinking
about my blood pressure is high. My blood pressure is high-ish, and I don't know if that's age, stress. Well, yeah, like the other day, I went to my cardiologist that I go to once a year, and it was like 193 over 110, and he goes, "I'm not even going to look at your blood pressure." And I get home. He says, "Check it when you get home." So I got home, and it was like 130 over 80. So the white coat syndrome.
Yes.
When I'm with the doctor, it goes crazy.
Yeah. Man.
But I've
just
got no
I
blockage.
admire
I've
that.
got clear, there's no a calcium buildup at all,
Yeah.
you know.
What do you
So, and
attribute
that
that
could be
to?
heredity.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Probably heredity, and I don't drink. I mean, I don't not drink, but I don't, I don't drink beer. I might have a shot of tequila before I play, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't smoke dope. I did a lot of cocaine in the '80s, and that might have fucked up my heart,
Sure. Could have.
um, the muscle some, but it heals. I mean, but when I'm 72, I'm on a blood thinner, a couple of blood pressure medicines, but I need to drop some weight. I mean, I probably if I lost 10 pounds, that would
Yeah.
lower my blood pressure. But I
Okay.
don't know. I mean, I'm not getting the aerobic stuff that I used to, and
Right.
I don't know how to. Other than I'm really not sure how to drop weight right now. My doctor said just eat less. He wouldn't give me any drugs to knock the weight off. He said, you don't want that. He goes,
Yeah.
just, walk 30 minutes a day. Well, I've got a
Yeah.
Peloton. So when I don't go out
Okay.
on the bike, I've
Nice.
got my Peloton.
Nice.
But even on the road, I need to walk. I need to do, walk more.
Yeah. What is a day in the life out with Willie like? I mean, is it pretty boring until showtime? Is it pretty relaxed?
No, man, we have like lots of drugs and hookers and, yeah, it's relaxed. I mean, we get in, probably check in the hotel. We drive all night, so I sleep on the bus,
Okay.
check in
Still
the
doing that.
hotel like at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then if it's a decent hotel, I'll hang out the hotel, maybe go to the gym, or and then go to the venue around 2 in the afternoon. Or if I'm
Uh-huh.
bored and don't want to be in the hotel, I'll go over to the hotel. You go to the venue around 11.
Yeah.
And
Are you doing your own sound
it's really
checks?
kind of boring. We don't do sound checks anymore. Nothing's going to change.
Why
I
would you?
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we're right. It's good. The first song's the sound check, but the days are pretty boring. And you don't sleep great on the bus, so I'm kind of wiped out during the day. I mean, on a show day, you're not gonna, put 100% into a workout.
Yeah.
I'll get on the treadmill and walk, and lift a little bit, but days off are better for that kind of stuff. And we do have a lot of days off with Willie now. We'll play 2 nights and then maybe have a day off.
Okay. Yeah, because he used to go like real hard, right? Like in terms of tour
Yeah, we used to
dates.
go out 10 weeks at a time. Now we're going out like 10 days,
Yeah.
10 gigs, which might take 14 days to play.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you look at sort of like the endurance and longevity of your career and all the people that you played with, I mean, you were playing. I don't know. Were you on the records, or were you? I know you were at least doing the live stuff with the Highwaymen, with Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson and all that.
Yeah, I was on their records too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've played with everybody. You obviously, I mean, so clearly love it. I know that when people have reached out to you to play on their albums, like myself, I remember other stuff that you had been working on with the band. I mean, with just all the time, you're just generous with with the skills that you have. So it seems like your baseline is excited, like you love what you do. What gets you excited? Is there anything that gets you above that
Well, I
baseline of
like,
like, oh, I can't wait for this?
yeah, I mean, I love playing with Chris Stapleton. That's exciting. I mean, the band is
Yeah.
fabulous, and the
Yeah.
show we're playing big stadiums and stuff, so that's exciting. Willie, of
Yeah.
course, I've been doing that 51 years. That's cool too. And then
So
every
cool.
once in a while, I'll get to play with, like the Avett Brothers. I was working on a project with
Ooh.
them, or
Yeah.
just some other, Kenny Chesney, or um, I can't think of what I've been doing recently. I just played on something for this guy, Co Wetzel,
Mm-hmm.
who I hadn't heard of before, but now I know about.
Yeah.
And God, I can't think of it. But so if it's fun, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's good music, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking every gig that comes to me. I mean, if
Sure.
a lot of times somebody wants to play on a record, I've got to really like it because I don't want to just get too. I used to think
Yeah.
I wanted to be a studio musician, work every day, and I
Yeah.
just don't want. I only know so many licks. I don't want to be caught as repeating myself.
Have you ever
But I'm
gotten in
really
over your
just,
head?
now. Say again.
Have you ever gotten in over your head? Like someone has said, "Hey, Mickey, you want to play with us?" And you said yes, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, this is harder than I thought, or different than I
Yeah,
thought."
well, yeah, Billy Strings. It was like,
Really?
well, I knew, yeah, because that stuff was so. But if I don't hear the harmonica on it, I'll just tell them I don't hear anything on this.
Yeah.
Um, I just did something with Amos Lee and the
Oh
Dallas
gosh.
Symphony, so that was
Oh
fun.
wow.
I mean, the symphony was amazing, and then there were a couple of songs he said, "You want to play on this?" It's like, no, I don't hear any harmonica on this song. That it
Hmm.
just get in the way. Don't
Yeah.
need it. So.
Yeah.
So I know how
Yeah.
to edit myself.
I mean, no, and if I was talking to younger musicians, I'd be like, yeah, one of the greatest skills that you could have is to know when to not play. Oh, you told me a story once. Who were you playing? You were playing with, I could be getting this wrong. This could just be, my brain. Eric Clapton. Someone told you to take up smoking. Do you remember
No,
this
no,
story?
yeah, well, no, yeah, yeah. I was playing with Willie and Grady Martin, who was our guitar player. He
Uh-huh.
and he was like the studio cat from the '40s and '50s. He played on every hit record out of Nashville.
Okay.
And when I
Okay.
met Eric Clapton, I said, "Hey, do you want to go meet Willie?" And he goes, "No, I want to meet Grady, who was our guitar player."
Oh,
So
wow.
Grady one day tells, and Grady played with us, toured with us for about 10 years after he retired from the studio. I mean, he's the guy who played that lead on Marty Robbins' El Paso, da 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 da
Oh
da
my
da da da
gosh.
da.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, he one day he just told me, he said, "Man, smoke a cigarette." He said, "Take that damn thing out of your mouth. You play too much." So my strong point is knowing when not to play, which I learned. You know,
Yeah. 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 I think every great musician who
knowing
hangs
when to
in
play,
there
when
at
not to
some point
play.
has that
You know.
moment. Yeah. Well, they have that moment where someone
hmm
tells them to stop. And I definitely had
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
musical mentors who
and you
told me to
shouldn't
shut
have to
up.
tell anybody. All right. How much water do you drink? No, I'm asking seriously. That was
Oh, that's a legit. Okay.
maybe a
Okay.
bad segue.
No, it's fine. I'm targeting. I have this huge jug. It's not on me. You normally have it on me, but I try and go through 2 of those a day. I
Yeah.
think that's like ends up being like 2 liters, but I'm running a lot. Like I'm running like right now I'm winding down because it's almost race time. My next 100-mile run is in a week and a half, so I'm kind of winding down my training. So I'm less thirsty than I normally am, but at least 2 liters of water a day. Just drink to thirst is the goal. I
Because
don't
I'm never
drink because I'm
thirsty.
thirsty. Oh, oh, interesting.
Yeah. See, I'm never thirsty. So I have to force myself to drink. I'm not doing 2 liters. I wish I was.
What are you
So
What are
when
you
you run
eating?
100 miles, is it?
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I eat healthy.
Yeah.
Today I didn't eat till about 1, and I had a salad and a piece of chicken.
Oh,
And tonight I've got some quinoa and some lentils and a piece of salmon.
oh, that sounds delightful.
But I probably, yeah, but it's not. I'm not losing any weight. I should, I don't know if I should try the intermittent fasting where I don't eat
Mm,
till 1 in the afternoon, but on the
yeah.
road the
I don't
food
know.
is there all the time, so I get bored and you're constantly nibbling.
Oh, that makes sense.
Always, it's always there. So on a 100-mile race, is that nonstop?
Yeah, 100 miles for the most part, no one really sleeps on that. Or someone might grab like a 15-minute nap. Rarely do people like sleep for an extended period of time. It's a straight through. So the only time I finished took me 28 hours. And I finished once in 2018. But my joke is that I've never found a worse 100-mile runner than me. I've failed to finish 7 of 8 attempts, and I'm going back for number 9 next week. And yeah, I
Ah,
mean, I feel more fit. I'm 41 now. I feel more fit than I've ever felt. It's not even close how fit. It's just crazy to
yeah,
me that the human body, that 41, I can feel more fit than I've ever felt before. And
yeah.
yeah, so I don't anticipate sleeping. If I need to, I would. But
What about
unlikely that I
marathons? Have you done marathons?
Yeah, I did. And there's an illness I think that we ultra runners have, and that's like we run a marathon and we can't believe we did it because it's such an amazing accomplishment. And then there's something in the back of our head that we like, oh, we've heard that people go further. I wonder what that's like. And then you just kind of keep going and keep going further and keep going further. Because now there's like there's a new race that's about to come out in Arizona that's 309 miles. So they just keep getting longer.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
you
But
want to
even the marathons, I mean, what an accomplishment that is. What kind of
absolutely.
mindset do you have to be to do the ultra,
Oh, so that's what this whole podcast was built on. So your episode, I think 32, just about every other episode has been something about trying to figure out my mind. And so I've had a whole range of people on the podcast to talk about like how do I survive this mentally, because my mind is always the thing that keeps me from doing it successfully. So there's the first piece is I got to eat right. I got to eat better. So if I can eat better, then so I
so
learned
is it
that your
more
brain
carbs
takes
or you?
30. Yes. So one thing that I've never done is like looked at those nutrients or whatever on that level. I need way more carbs. So I need 70 to 80 grams of
Yeah.
carbs per hour. And I have never even gotten close to that. So I've got a plan for that.
Oh, you
So
mean
I've
while
got
you're running? Or,
yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, but you can get that through liquid. And so I'm trying to get a
oh,
lot through
right.
liquid so I don't
Okay.
get so I don't get too weighed down from just so much food. But you've got to put down 6,000 calories through the course of this. So you gotta be strategic, or else you could just put a whole bunch of like whole foods that are good for you, but too much whole foods in you and it just weighs you down.
Yeah.
So working on mindset, the mindset otherwise is just like you're constantly having to think like, is the pain in my body something I can keep going and push through? Or is it something that I need to stop? And that's always been hard. I've always erred on the side of caution because I want to be doing maybe not 100 milers, but when I'm 72, I still want to be out there running trail half marathons or trail marathons or something like that. So I'm just trying to set
Yeah. So
myself
how do
up
you
to be,
distinguish? How do you know when you
yeah,
get out on a run and you go, gee, I feel like I'm going to pass a kidney right now, but I'm going to go on. It's only in my mind.
yeah. So I did an episode with a woman named Casey Brady. She was a physical therapist. That was the whole topic. How do I know when something happens in the middle of the race? How do I know when I can keep going, and how do I know when I need to stop? So one rule of thumb is
Yeah.
that if you hear a pop, you got to stop. There's never a good scenario with a pop. So if you
Okay.
pop anything in your body, you stop there. Beyond that, it's if your whole entire, like the mechanics of how you move your body has changed and is getting worse. So maybe maybe your hip's really hurting and it's now causing you to limp, and that limp is getting worse. But if that limp is because of tightness, there's some things that you can do to get the tightness out. But if those things to get out tightness don't work, then and your mechanics, your gait, the way that you're moving is progressively getting worse, then that's a stop.
Right.
So that's
What
hard.
what shoes do you wear?
I'm wearing Merrell Agility Peak 5s for this one. So they're, the world of trail running shoes is just getting crazier and crazier, bigger and bigger, more and more. But I really liked this brand. I've worked with them at Borderlands, worked with Merrell for a while, and I've been wearing their shoes for a while. And I've actually, even though they sponsor the documentaries that I do, I really mean this. I'd buy these shoes. These are the shoes that I would wear even if I wasn't given a pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
So when you're out running, what's in your mind? I mean, you're going 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yeah. The elites, the professionals of this sport don't listen. By and large, it seems like they don't listen to anything. And so,
Yeah.
the elites can do 100 miles, depending on the course. It varies because these are mountain runs. So it depends on what mountains you're running in. But, they could get 14 and a half hours at a race like this with nothing. So I do a decent amount of music up front, a decent amount of podcast up front. And then my auditory senses become so sensitive, like I can't handle anything. And that's probably after like 7 or 8 hours. I just can't do anything. So then you're just, maybe meditation could be a right way to put it, but you're just like in some sort of like rhythm of moving forward, and you're dissociating from your reality and like trying to separate yourself from what you're doing,
Right.
because you have your sights set on this bigger goal. So then you dissociate from the moment. At least that's what I do.
Yeah. So are you carrying a phone with you, or are you what?
Yeah, I got the phone for the music and photos, for memories. But we do
Yeah. And you're not by yourself. Are you by yourself when you run, or are you with the group?
very. It depends on the race. So you'll start with everybody, and then over the course of 100 miles, you can imagine how much everybody separates. And then
Yeah. Okay.
sometimes you have what are called pacers that go out with you, and they'll join you at certain times to help,
Ah.
just to be a buddy along the way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you should do one.
Yeah, I have to. All I'm thinking about now is just walking to my mailbox. Maybe I could run it.
What are those records on your wall behind you?
Those are from Chris Stapleton.
Oh,
But my whole garage is full of the old Willie ones.
really?
So
That's fun.
yeah.
Is there any record in particular that you just that's on your wall somewhere that just has a particular fondness, or is it all of them?
Yeah. Yes, Motley Crue, Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Why?
Yeah, that was a fun gold record. That was a fun session, and I got a gold record for that.
That was different. I mean, but you also played with U2. What did you do with U2? Did you play live with U2, or did you play on an album of theirs?
No, we were in the studio, and Bono had written a song he wanted to sing as a duet with Willie, or he
Okay.
wanted Willie to cut it. We were in Ireland. We were in Dublin with them at their studio, and we just went in and cut it with the band.
Wow.
With U2. So it's just me and Willie and the and U2.
Wow. Has there been a situation, I could imagine earlier in your career that it would have made sense, but where you were nervous and excited, like, oh, I can't believe I get to be here. I mean, most of the time that's probably how Billy Strings, as big as he is, he might think, oh, this is incredible. I can't believe I'm playing with, Mickey Raphael. Did you have any like direct memories of that being your situation with somebody?
Yeah, I mean, playing with Wynton Marsalis was that way because these were all
Wow.
his group was all these jazz players, and it's like, gee, I hope I don't get found out that that I'm not a real musician or something, that I've been faking it all these years.
I
Or
mean, were
even
you
with the
playing?
Dallas Symphony the other day.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I bet.
with the Dallas Symphony, it's like, oh, I'm coming out here playing a harmonica. And I just imagine them going, oh, there's the guy that's playing the toy, so.
So when you played with Wynton Marsalis, were you playing like jazz licks? Like what were you?
No, no. Well, we were doing a Ray Charles song. We were doing Ray Charles tribute.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it was pretty soulful. I mean, it wouldn't really. I mean, their solos were jazz. Mine were more rhythm and blues, I guess. Or bluesy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you had to fit the song, so we weren't really doing hardcore jazz. Right.
Well, I think, and as I think about where someone like you and like my world of endurance, like the obvious crossovers endurance, and we've sort of talked about that, but what do you attribute your longevity to? I mean, your ability to keep going. Like you could retire potentially. You could do kind of something that you wanted, but you keep going. How do you keep going? Why do you keep going?
I don't want to get a real job.
Yeah. What real jobs are available to you outside of harmonica?
Not to me, nothing. I worked at the post office when I got out of school.
Paper route?
Paper route. That's right. Man, I don't know. I don't. My skills. I love doing what I'm doing. I'm really blessed and really
Yeah.
lucky
Yeah.
to be able to have made a living and had a decent career.
Yeah.
I mean, I just play a harmonica.
Well,
Everybody can play the harmonica.
You do produce, or at least you produce some of Willie's stuff. Did you ever think of going beyond that? Like, producers end up being able to stay in one place instead of having to go out on tour a lot. Was that something that ever interested you?
Well, there's no. I haven't been offered anything. It's not like you just say
see.
I want to produce and get the work. I
It's
just
more organic
co-produce another Willie record. But yeah, I mean Willie, I get a lot of opportunity to do stuff with.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever?
And I get to we haven't toured really. What's that?
I was just going to say, did you ever do anything with Rick Rubin?
No, I've never met Rick Rubin.
Never been in his studio?
I admire him. I've just never worked with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, my schedule is great. We haven't really toured. Well, we did 2 weeks in February, but then we were off since November. So
Oh,
I've had a lot of
okay.
time off. We're getting ready to start up again. It's like I say, the weekends start with Chris next weekend, and then
Yeah.
I'm home for a couple of weeks, and I go out with Willie.
Yeah.
So
Do you get a little stir crazy since your life's been on the road when you have that long of a break? Are you
no,
like, you don't get stir crazy?
no, because I don't really like going out for these 2 weeks that we go out with Will.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. I don't want to say I don't look forward to it. A week would be fine. I
Yeah.
love the Stapleton schedule because it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
and then you're
Why do you think
home
he does
on
that?
Sundays.
Because Chris could
He's
do, I
got
mean, at his
everybody's got. They're based
family.
out of Nashville, and he's got family and kids in
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and because you're playing 3 days in a stadium,
Sure.
it's
That probably takes care of the bills.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mickey, I could talk to you all day about this and, be fun. Maybe as a final note here, since I've done a 4-part documentary series. The 4th episode is going to be filmed next week when I go back and try and run this. And an element of this for me is connected to my dad. We had I don't know, love-hate is too strong. Never
Yeah,
hate,
yeah.
but we had a love-dislike relationship, and it was back and forth. And then when he passed away, in September, I was in France, come back, and he had passed. And and with your connection with him, maybe just go out on a couple of memories that you have. I know we opened with the paper route still in the car, but I don't know I know he went off to Fountain Valley High School when he was in 10th grade. I still don't even understand why he was sent, other than I can imagine he was difficult. I don't know. But just, I don't know, any old memories of my dad that come to mind. I'd be curious.
He got all the girls. He got all the girls I was had crushes on.
My dad did?
Yeah, I mean, he was a good-looking guy. He was blonde,
Yeah.
and very sure of himself. I was really shy all the time,
Hmm.
so he was very
Really?
assertive, I think, and
Hmm.
socially, cool.
Yeah. I know that he was a self-proclaimed hippie after he left Fountain Valley and was, he talked about being at like the Fort Worth Blues Festival, listening to B.B. King all night, and he was kind of chasing music festivals in the early 70s. Were you around for any of that?
Not with him, but I was, I'd gone to I guess the Dallas Pop Festival or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
maybe we might have gone together. I can't
Might have both
remember
been there at
really.
the same
No,
time.
but I
Yeah.
think I lost contact with him well, he and his parents were Jewish, and his dad was the president of the director
The
of the Jewish
JCC.
Community Center,
Yep.
JCC, and then he goes away to school, and I don't see him for 20 years, and he comes back, and he's a Baptist minister. And I said, man, what trauma did you go through?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, where have you been? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
what was this? There was something else I was going to say that I didn't want to forget. Oh no, I just had it. I was about to say it, but yeah, either way, you guys were apart. Then was it like the late 80s then that you guys reconnected
I think
in some
so.
point?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
man, I wish I could remember that other thing, but I can't. I'll have to text you if I do.
Okay.
But good luck in getting back out on the road. And I just
Yeah.
love to see you out
Thanks.
there. Yeah,
Day
I'm
after
super
tomorrow.
super impressed. Well, if you come through Salt Lake City, or actually we're gonna move to France for a year. So if you
Oh, really?
if
Oh,
you're gonna tour Europe, come say hi. We've got a lot more kids than last time I saw you.
yeah. Yeah. I saw your pictures. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you still have that saxophone?
Yes, I do.
Do you really?
I
I
do.
got to give you I'm going to give you my FedEx number to
Okay.
ship it to me. A buddy of mine is Bill Evans, and he played sax with Miles Davis. So
Oh yeah,
he's in town now. And if you can't,
really?
if you don't mind, we'll talk about that later. I'll give you
Yes,
my air bill number, and when you get
yes,
time, ship that to me.
yep,
You've only been
absolutely.
hanging on. You only had it stored for 30 years. So
It's probably been
no,
just
actually,
slightly more than
2014
30.
is when yeah, well, Brenda passed in 2014, so that's almost been 10
Oh my
years.
goodness. So then then I've had it probably 12. But I've got it. It's just sitting in
Yeah,
storage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
thanks, Mickey. I do appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the road.
Well, it's
Thank
good
you.
to see you again.
Yeah, you as well. See you next time.
Okay.